Now we are going to begin to learn about rounding decimals. In this first example, we're going to visualize rounding decimals. If you haven't already, make sure you read the paragraph in your media lesson packet that describes rounding decimals above this problem. So basically, rounding a decimal means to approximate it with a number close in value. So maybe our national debt, I'm making this up, but it's in the right ballpark, is $23,472,733,223,552.12. So that was a lot of information. So lots of times we don't need that much information. We just want a ballpark figure, and that's when we round decimals. So in this example, we're going to round the number represented below to the nearest ones place, tenths place, and hundredths place. Note the big square is a unit and gray shading represents a whole. So these three each represent 1. And then we have our decimal grid. We have some orange strips, some yellow squares, and we have some blue thousandths as well. So first let's write the given number. So we have 3 wholes, so it's 3. Point. Now we have 1, 2, 3 orange strips, so 3 tenths. Looks like we have 7 hundredths. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thousandths. So this is the number represented by this shading. Now we're asked to round to the nearest ones place. So let's think about what ones value this number lies between. So we have 3 whole ones. It's between 3. And then we have some more. So it's less than 4, but it's bigger than 3. So it's between 3 and 4. So when we round to the nearest ones place, we want to think about which number is it closer to, 3 or 4. So if it's 1/2 or higher, we would say it was closer to 4. And if it's less than 1/2 of a whole, we would say it's less than, or that it rounds to 3. So notice we have 3 tenths here. All we really need to look at is the tenths place. So it doesn't fill all the way to halfway up the next whole. So that means we're going to round down to the number 3. So this is 3 rounded to the nearest whole number. Now let's round to the nearest tenths place. Okay. So that means we're going to use the ones place and the tenths place to approximate this number, and the tenths place is going to be the smallest place we use. So now, looking at the figure, we see that we have 3. So it's going to be 3 point something. And we have 3 tenths, 3 whole 3 tenths. So it's between 3.3. And then we have some yellow squares, but we don't have a whole new column. If we did, that would be 3.4. So our number lies between 3.3 and 3.4, and we want to know which it's closer to. Well, 3.3 would be just the 3 orange strips. We'd get rid of these 7 hundredths. And 3.4, we'd need 3 more hundredths. So this is more than halfway on its way to another full tenth. Okay, so we have 7 hundredths. We'd only need 3 more to make a tenth. We need to take away 7 to make 3 tenths. So it's closer to 4 tenths. So to the nearest tenths place is 3.4. Now we're going to use the same idea with the hundredths place. Okay, so we know we have 3.3. And then we have these 7 hundredths. And we want to know, is this closer to 7 hundredths or filling in 1 more 8 hundredths? So it's between 3.37 and 3.38 because we have these ones filled in here. And let's just kind of fill them in here so we can see it. Okay, so I put the thousandths place in this hundredths place so we can get a better view of it. So there's our 3.37. If this was all the way filled up, it would be 3.38. So that's what our number lies between. So notice we have exactly half of this filled. And when we have half or higher of the next place value, we round up. So we're going to round this to 3.38. Okay. Now we're going to look at an example with a number line. Round the number represented below to the nearest whole number, 1 decimal place, and 2 decimal places. So on the number line, this is our point right here, and we're not even told exactly what it is, but we can still do all of this rounding by seeing what it's closer to in terms of the decimal places. So here's our point. We want to start with round to the nearest whole number. Well, I see a whole number on here. It's 3. 2, looking at this scaling, this is 0.1, 2.8 would probably be somewhere here. So 2 is pretty far away. We can't even see it on this diagram. So the nearest whole number would be the closest one, which is 3. Now we're going to round to 1 decimal place. Okay. So that's equivalent to rounding to the tenths place. So remember, we use these different words. So here's our number, and here are the tenths place it lies between. It lies between 2.9 and this is 3.0. Okay. So now looking at the diagram, which one is our point closer to? And you can probably see it's closer to 2.9. You may want to think, if I was standing here and I needed to go to the store, would I walk here or would I walk there? Well, this one is closer, so it's 2.9. And again, exactly halfway through would be here. Okay. Then you'd be equidistant to these 2 points, and then in general we would round up instead of round down. Now finally we want to round this to 2 decimal places, and notice that would be hundredths, and I'm going to label these. Let's clear a little room here. This is 2.90, so this is, actually I'll label this above, 2.91, and this would be 2.92. Okay, so this is broken into 10 equal pieces. You can count them, but in general they will be for this section. And our number lies between these two numbers. So which one is it closer to? Is it closer to 2.91 or 2.92? And I hope you can see that it's more than halfway in this interval, so it's closer to 2.92. In the next videos, we're going to learn how to round using place value, but it's nice to keep these ideas in mind so you're not just following a procedure, but you can visualize what you're doing in the rounding process.